episode 19, season 2 of Higher Fire. We are back, and I have a very special guest today. So special that some may call him too special at times. But on the real, guys, this guy is not only my business partner, but becoming one of my close friends. And I thought this would be the best way to start the second season. Coming all the way live from Cartagena, Colombia, Mr. Miami, Mr. Canada, Mr. Toronto, Mr. Hessel Media, Mr. Remote Latino himself, Esteban Andrade. How we doing, Mr. Esteban?
What's going on, man? Super excited. I'm in Santa Marta, but right now, so
Santa Marta, which is close.
It's close.
Was that the best intro you've ever gotten?
Yeah, the Mr. Five Names. Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Because this is what I was feeling. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. All right, guys. I'm so excited to speak with Esteban. This has been long overdue. We did a podcast for his about 6-7 months ago when we first started our partnership. And what I wanted to cover with him today is going to be a little bit about his story and what he's been doing with Hessel Media in the last going on 4 years now, which is pretty cool. And then what we have going with Remote Latinos, what our mission is, our vision, and how we are anticipating on helping tens of thousands of people in Latin America and really around the world find remote careers and being able to find the dream job they're looking for. But Esteban, if you were, I always like to take it back to your story, but I know you've done so many podcasts and you've told your story so many times, so people can always search you and find you. If you were to summarize your story in a 3 to 5 minute moment, how would you say you got to where you are today in 3 to 5 minutes?
Sure. I was a chubby kid, bullied a lot in high school, in elementary school in Colombia. Moved to Canada, where everything was so different when I was 14, and changed my entire life, where I saw different cultures and perspectives, especially Toronto, and I decided to stay. My parents went back when I was 16, lived by myself from 16-year-old till today. Well, after graduation, ended up going through a series of up and downs, but mostly ups and financial downs, where I found myself driving Uber, found myself doing free jobs, found myself doing jobs that I never have thought that I would do, which were sales jobs, were interpersonal relationship jobs, things that ultimately led me to navigate entrepreneurship. And then I got hired in Michigan. So after working for some companies for a while in Toronto for free and for very low, for cheap labor, cheap pay, I got hired in Michigan, and that's kind of my first stepping stone in the USA. And I said, I'm gonna stay in this beautiful country that is full of opportunities. It is only cold in the north, but there's beautiful places that I can go to. And Michigan was my central hub of falling in love with real estate. Detroit was like the most destroyed city you could ever see back in the 2017. It still looks a little bit rough in some places, but that got me the experience and it got me the motivation on working on real estate. And I did a couple of real estate deals, ended up going to the real estate marketing route because I met so many great mentors, such as Frank Kern, listened to Gary Vee a lot, listened to Dan Kennedy, listened to a lot of really different books while I was driving to work and while I was developing myself. And then back in 2020, about 3 years ago, I got laid off from a great job that I ultimately got at Chrysler. And that job was paying me well, was paying me an awesome salary, but it was like leaving me stuck in the bubble that a lot of people get stuck for a while, which is the corporate life or the office life. And you can't go higher than that. You wanna go faster, or you know that you have all their capabilities. And boom, COVID helped me, kicked me in the butt, told me, now you gotta basically like figure it out, work for yourself, figure something out so that now it's your own responsibility. And I had started a side gig, a side hustle, helping real estate investors with marketing. I was doing their Facebook ads and I was doing their Google ads as a freelance. And now I went full in and actually took it seriously in 2020, March 23rd, where I started developing as an actual agency, as an actual business. And we grew from me, no employees, me doing everything, all the way to we are about 14, 15 employees at Hessel Media 3 years after, almost 3 years. And we also have merged forces and now have merged with a company using Fava and created Remote Latinos to help more real estate investors and help more people get amazing jobs and, generate more opportunities, more deals, scale their business, and ultimately make you a badass entrepreneur that not only hustles, but also hustles smart and works real well, makes money, have an amazing team. That's where I am. I kind of took a little bit longer than expected, but I had to.
That's okay. I love it. So, I mean, as you guys can tell, it's funny because our company is called Remote Latinos, and I believe Esteban is the epitome of what that looks like. But I also think that Esteban can agree he got lucky by coming to the US, right? A lot of our team members that are in Latin America, that are in the Philippines, they speak perfect English. They understand American culture. You almost feel like you're talking to an American person, but they've never stepped foot in the US, right? And Esteban and I are both being immigrants, both moving to the US and Canada when we were kids, got blessed with the opportunity to just be submerged in the culture early on. However, what we've noticed, I live in Latin America most of the year. Esteban comes to, Colombia, visits his parents, come visit me, travels to Mexico and all those places. We both noticed that a lot of people in this, specifically where we are, they have high level of English. They have the skill sets. They can learn about real estate investing. They can learn about sales. They can learn about being a transactional coordinator. It's about us making the connection, and it's about us giving them the resources to level up slowly but surely. So Esteban, going back to earlier this year, I think our partnership is really cool because before we partnered up, you became a client first. And I think something that you really liked is that you saw the potential that this had before we partnered up. I mean, we partnered up a couple months after you got your first contractor from us. I'm wondering, what was it about using Fava that you saw? And what was it about the real estate investing space that you also saw for you to think, okay, there is a lot of potential here from the recruiting side, from me, from the team, and also from the investing side? Because as you know, at that point, we were working with about 250 companies around the world, all types of agencies and e-com owners. I got offered a few partnerships. And I'll tell you my side, but what was it about us, about me, about the real estate investing space that you saw that there was a hole when it comes to the recruiting space?
I can talk to you about the hole, but I also can talk to you about what I saw about Fava. So I've used also different recruiting services and stuff. A lot of people do not go above and beyond and actually understand value. What does that mean? Whenever you are recruiting, especially if you're new to recruiting or you haven't done too many recruits, you still need help. And Fava, they offer me the help, but not only offer me the help, they offer me the feedback and ask for feedback. What that ultimately does is improves my process into hiring and my experience into hiring, and ultimately gets a better outcome. A lot of different recruiters, they just sign you up, onboard you, they send you candidates, you gotta basically interview them yourself, and they don't give you any resources or any training, or they don't take care of you during that period of I don't know what questions to ask, what should I ask, how should I qualify this person, what am I really looking. And a lot of business owners, they think they know, but they don't know, because hiring is the most difficult skill set that I have had to go through, apart from being a sales manager. But hiring itself, interviewing and things, a lot of high-level entrepreneurs and high-level business owners still struggle with that part. Fava ultimately knows this, and they, for example, assign Isabella, which would be in the actual interview process, during the interview, listening to everything, has heard hundreds or almost 1,000 calls already, interviews, will be able to proactively tell the client, hey, I think that this was great, but what do you think about it? Or what do you think about it? I'll tell you what I think about it. And then ultimately work on a feedback loop where you help me really make better decisions. You help me really understand whether that's a great candidate for me or not. And then me giving you feedback, for example, hey, look, this process right here, I feel like I could have done it a little bit faster, or we could have completely ignored that part of the process and go right into it. Then that feedback was implemented almost immediately. And the fact that, for example, when I came in and there was no board, and then as soon as I was almost finishing my process, the board was almost implemented. And the board is a place where basically you are putting all your candidates with the detailed information with specific custom fields on specific stages, where kind of like a ClickUp stage, right? Like a project management. And that didn't exist, but that in a matter of no time existed and was implemented right away. It means that you definitely understand the customer and you definitely see the value of like adapting real fast, making the experience of client better, on top of giving them training, telling them exactly how you should be hiring, what questions you should be asking, how to understand your virtual assistant, and what needs to be done there as soon as you hire. Like your first onboarding call, your first onboarding week, the first day of that VA, what to have, core values, mission, vision, all this kind of stuff that correlates to keeping that virtual assistant longer. That's what impressed me the most. And I knew that the path, even though not everything was perfect, but the path that was coming, that you guys were coming from, was exactly how I would do also my business. Because it's funny, because when I approach you guys, it's because I wanted a media buyer. I wanted to like hire someone from you guys. But I also wanted to qualify you guys to see if you could be within my client services, my Rolodex, right? So I tried multiple white labeling options, white label different virtual assistant companies and agencies that they do arbitrage. But the problem is that our clients would never talk with that specific VA, and if they do, they would get mixed information or mixed feedback from this manager and this manager. They have two managers, they have two bosses, and this boss says this and this boss says this. They get trained differently, right? Or some of them, they just never talk with them. So they don't know who their VA is. They replace the VA every 3 weeks or every month. But they still get the job done. They still get the service. And for me, that was not a real sense of business. Like, how are you having a business and not ever talking with your employees or not meeting your employees? Well, in reality, let's not call them employees. Let's call them just like your collaborators, your workers, your team members, right? So like, how are you going to not ever talk to them? So it's really important. I tried white labeling. And I tried also sending them to other services. It didn't work. They had bad experiences. Some of them, everything was going well, but then all of a sudden it just didn't work. Like they were like, no, it was not a good experience and so on. So I was always looking for someone that would give that experience to a client. That's kind of like what I saw. And then holes in the industry is that people don't really have a partner that helps them recruit internal people. In-house people. Did you know that if you have a team that has a great culture, that has a great mission and understand what they're looking for to do in the company, and they all move towards the right direction, the same North Star, the company grows faster. It's much more different environment where it's like fun, it's entertaining to be part of it. It's really, really exciting. Apart from like just outsourcing your human beings and never meeting them, you're not having that experience as you grow. And even if you grow, like you're never gonna meet your virtual assistants, or you're never really gonna meet them properly. So we want to be able to connect you with in-house people, right? And there is a big gap because a lot of virtual assistant companies only use virtual arbitrage. So they only do arbitraging. That's everything they do. And they don't focus on keeping the person long term. They just want to go there for the money, and they also not given the opportunity to other markets to flourish, such as the Latin American market, which is a huge market that a lot of people are actually not taking advantage from. So that's essentially what it is. So yeah, I can go on a different path here or different routes and talking why I ended up kind of like mixing my agency with another agency, but that was the most important thing. I wanted to make sure that other real estate investors can grow with people. That's everything. People is the most important thing here, and we build systems around them. People are the ones that are going to help you ultimately scale your company to multiple 7 figures, multiple eight figures. One good hire. Did you know that one good hire can actually add a couple $100,000 per month to your company, one really good hire can make you $300,000, $400,000 per year extra, depending on their position. So if you're hiring great people and you know where to find them, you qualify them properly, you show them that there is a North Star, you tell them that there is a great mission to be here, you compensate them well, and you maintain them motivated, you will make that great hire a top A player, a rock star that will help you create other top A players, create teams around it, and ultimately your company will grow almost by inertia, by itself.
I absolutely agree. And by the way, he's actually said employees a couple times. They're technically not employees, guys. They're contractors. Employees are people that are under the W-2 guidelines. When it comes to taxing, contractors are W-9, and they are basically free to work in as many jobs as possible. However, because we give them the amount of the treat they want, the pay they want, most of the time, 99.9% of the time, they just work for us. It almost feels like an employee, but in reality is a contractor, which is very important to distinct the two. And then the word collaborator, I absolutely love. I actually love calling my team members partners. I love calling them, like these guys are, I would not be able to do what I'm doing without my partners, without the people that help me build this departments, right? Team members, right? Family members. I don't like calling them contractors. I don't like calling them employees. Even if they weren't my employees, like legally, I would not want them call them that. I used to work at a place called Top Golf, which is pretty famous now in the US. And they used to call every employee there, and we actually were employees, associates, which I thought that was way better than employees, right? And that terminology actually does, affect the people differently, because for me, it's like for me, the people that have been here for a long time, that have been here over a year, close to a year, they feel like family members, because a lot of them, I spend more time talking to them than I talk to like my own family, literally a lot of them, like legit. So because of that, what we've noticed is how you treat your team members while you're on calls, outside of calls, online, on social media. It's the most important thing. And I really believe that my team has my back because they know I have their back. And to me, that's important because it starts with me having their back before they have my back. I'm at a place in my life when I started this business that was ahead of most people. I was ahead of the curve. I was young, I was 26 years old. I'm still young, I'm 27, right? So my team members know that. They subconsciously know that if I'm hiring them, then I'm at a place where they're not. Because of that, they know that off the bat, I have their back no matter what, if as long as they just show up. I just show up. And slowly, I earn their trust. I earned their respect. I earned being their leader, and they just start trusting me. And I really love them, how open my team has been with me for the last 6 months, right? When we do the performance reviews at the end of the month, when I do the daily trainings with them, daily huddles with a lot of my team members. I like to do, when I believe that when you have a bigger team, when you have over 10 team members, I'm a believer that you need to do department meetings rather than have everybody on the team every single day. I do believe huddling everybody up for team wins and just talk about positivity, but then in the departments, talk about department wins, but also talk about what needs to be trained on, what needs to be improved. And I'm very, very receptive to feedback, to criticism, and to change. One of the things that multiple team members told me is that they absolutely love and respect that I take their feedback, number one. Not only do I take their feedback, but I also make changes necessary according to what they see that I don't. Because I'm very understanding that my team members at this point have done their job a lot more times than I've done their job. I've done every person's job here in our team, but they have done it a lot more times, which means they have mastered something that I have not yet. So that means that it would be stupid. It would be absolutely stupid, selfish, and just degrading if they tell me to do something that they see that can improve their role, the company, and I just brush it over and don't take it serious. So if you're watching this and if you listen so far and you're not communicating with your team every single day, you're not getting feedback from them, you're not asking how you can improve as a leader, like what can I do to show up more? What is it that can do? Well, there should get more meetings. Do you want me to make more content for us? Should I build a course for us? Do you want me to, what the heck do you want me to do? Right? And I don't do it from a place of frustration. I do it from a place of wanting to level up, from wanting to improve, from wanting our team members to take it to the next level, because where we are today does not determine where we're going to be tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. Where we are today is a consequence of our previous day. And in order for us to get to where we want to get to, we have to execute today, which means that you have to be open-minded every single day. As someone talking about getting feedback from clients, we do that. What about getting feedback from our own team members? I always say your team comes before your clients. Your team comes before your clients. Your client drives your business. It's the lifeline of your business, but your team is the business. So there's no lifeline. That lifeline doesn't matter if your team doesn't exist, which is why it's so important to find the right people, right? To give them a chance. Don't rush the interview process. I can't wait. I actually have a call later on with someone that fired one of our hirings in a few weeks. And he was complaining. He's like, they're not a good closer. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. Basically went off on the situation, not really on us, but went off on the situation. And we told him he's rushing the hiring. We told him not to make this hiring. It's a little bit too quick. It's not going to make sense. Number one, he didn't listen to us. And number two, the fact that his client already put his VA on sales calls, that's crazy. That's asinine. That doesn't make sense to me at all. So I can't wait to have a conversation with him and give him feedback and also receive feedback. Like, hey, what could we have done better? Could we presented you more people? Why were you in such a rush to make a hiring? This is one of the most important decisions for your business ever. You don't rush putting ads out. You don't rush your copy. You don't rush the sales call. Why would you rush a hiring? A hiring is a lot more long-term than anything that I just named, okay? Hiring, you're dealing with someone's life.